I went from absolute broken to blessed, like so many people who, find this profession. But when I found it, I was broke as a joke. My husband and I were married. We had 2 kids. I was waitressing around the clock. He was working 2 jobs. We always had more month at the end of our money. He was leaving the house at 4 in the morning for his first job. He'd get home at 7 or 8 in the morning, go to his second job. I was home with the kids all day because I wanted to be home with them. And then I would go waitress from 5 till midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. And that was just our life. But the bigger piece to it, you guys, and I think this is like a huge thing that's propelled me in my network marketing career because I've been in this profession for about 13 years, was that I never really believed in myself. And that's why I was waitressing. I waitressed for far too long. Like, I think I was trying to count and I was like, I think I waitressed on and off for like 16, 17 years.
Wow.
And my husband would always say to me, like, babe, go into like sales or something, like go do something. I was like, no, I'm not gonna be good at it. But when I found this profession, I actually felt like I mattered. I felt like I was good at something. I felt like I was helping. And so I felt like a piece of belonging, and that's where I think like something started to light a fire within me, even like broke as a joke and just like this waitress mentality. And I was like, no, there's something to this profession. Like, this is super cool. It was within the first year, like I went hard and fast. Like, this was a lifeline for me.
I think a lot of people, they stay stuck in their comfort zone because it's uncomfortable to reach out to people that you don't know that well, you haven't talked to in a while, people you look up to. It's hard to do videos. It's hard to like do a lot of things in the beginning. But if you're just like, hey, I'm not confident, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to take courageous action. I'm going to put myself out there and I'm just going to do the things that my mentors, right?
Totally.
I remember when I first got into network marketing, I was like, man, these people are so friendly. And then you start to understand the business model. You're like, oh, because you make money when I do.
That's why. That's why.
So you want me to make a fortune? That sounds kind of awesome. So that's
Okay.
amazing. I love hearing, just how you had so much success so quickly because you just committed to it. What would be your advice for people that are in a rebuild? They're wanting to build their dream team. They're wanting to, get back on track like you are right now, rebuilding from scratch and creating something incredible in a short period of time.
Going back to even those days when with the first company when I was 26 and I'm 41 next week, and it's like I made a fool of myself back then. I see the videos of myself and it's like, oh my gosh, like, but it's like that courageous piece. You're like, I made a fool of myself, but I was willing to do it because what was the back door, right? And even now, like I've had to make a couple pivots in my life with companies and some not my fault, some whatever, just whatever it was. It takes an incredible amount of humility, incredible amount. Your ego in leadership takes a seat real quick.
Yeah.
I learned that because sometimes my ego got away in my leadership over the last 13 years, and it was terrible. It hurts things. But if you can, your ego can take a seat and you can have that conviction about where you're at and where your team's at and what's the calling on your life and what your family deserves. You know what I mean? Like it takes that. And that's, to me, that's a real leader. When I've had to make this most recent pivot 8 months ago, I was pregnant with our fourth. I said this on stage. I said, it's crazy when a woman becomes pregnant. You probably, maybe Nadia was like this. We become these like psycho mamas and we're like, nobody gets in the way of this baby. Like you're a positive, you're only sending good energy,
Yeah.
And so, it's like peace.
No negativity. Yeah.
No negativity. You're protecting this little being, right? You're a mama bear. And peace quickly was like, I needed it to be my number one priority. My nervous system was my number one asset. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, what am I doing? How's my team doing? And where am I at? And I was a hot mess. I was tweaking out, like my nervous system was tweaking out. I was in so much fear and all these things. So I had to be incredibly, like, if you're thinking of making a pivot and, you need to like build another dream team all over again, the rebuild, it's no joke. The rebuild is no joke. We're rebuilding from scratch. We're building from experience.
Yeah.
We're doing that. We have the confidence, we have the experience and all that stuff, but we're humble.
And do you think personal development is a big part of that too?
Oh, like the ego talk. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, I was once making this much money and we were traveling the world and all these things, and now it's like, okay, I'm home with my 7-month-old baby and we're in a rebuild. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if I didn't have that personal growth, the identity, some people, let's talk about that for a second, because sometimes when you're doing really well in a company or you're a leader or whatever it is, some people attach their identity to their rank. to the income they're making, to the stages they were on, to whatever it was. But that personal growth piece where it's like, that's not your identity. You, as your, as a woman, as a man, your character, your integrity, who you're serving, who you're helping, all those things. It's like that piece has saved me in this rebuild, 100%.
I remember early on in my career, they said, "What weighs more, your ego or your bank account?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Well, I don't have much in my bank account." It's like, well, you probably shouldn't have a big ego then, right? And then you do make a
Yeah.
bunch of money, and you
Yeah.
start to realize, like, I'm not money motivated. I'm freedom motivated. I'm lifestyle motivated. I like helping people and knowing that I can make a difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can make an income, but
Yeah.
we're actually helping people develop into a better version of themselves, I'm a better father because of personal development and network marketing and just the, like you said, the positive environment and learning how to, control your thoughts to some extent. Because,
Oh, yeah.
when I first got involved in network marketing, I didn't realize it, but I was like naturally negative, which by the
Mhm.
way, very common, right? I
Yeah.
just wanted to make enough money to not wait tables because that's what I
Hmm.
was doing when I got started
Hmm.
too, right? I just want to
Hmm.
make enough money to, like, I don't know, not live at home with my parents,
Yep.
right? Like I wasn't thinking about like I'm going to be a millionaire one day or 10
Yeah.
grand a month would be like life changing, but really it was like, hey, if I could just make enough money to not be a waiter and not have
Yeah.
to, live at home with my parents, not have to go
Hmm.
to school, get a degree to get a job, like work your way up the corporate ladder. I never got excited about that. I saw network marketing. I'm like, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. How come I've never heard of this? Why
Yeah.
isn't everybody doing this? I thought it was
Hmm.
like the greatest thing ever. And then I go home
Yeah.
and talk to my friends and family. Like, that's a pyramid scheme. Now, in their defense, the first company I was in, looking back, I mean, it was shut down for being a pyramid scheme, and it kind of sort of was. I didn't know the difference. I just thought that was what the business model was. And then
Yeah.
years later, social media comes along, and you start to realize, like,
Yeah.
wow, I can teach people how to build a brand, build, a following, build a list, not just like acquiring customers, but like building that brand equity, right? And
Hmm.
then you start to
Yeah.
realize, like, man, if I can teach people how to generate leads, build a following, build influence, they wouldn't just have to rely on their friends and family. They wouldn't
Hmm.
just have to rely on people that are in their local network of people. And that's when our business we basically went from 6 figures a year to 6 figures a month when we cracked
Yeah.
that code. And I think in this day and age, the personal development tied with courageous action, and
Hmm.
then simultaneously learning how to show up authentically. Like the one thing about you, Amber, is you have so much certainty as to who you are and talking about that identity and knowing like the kind of person that you want to work with, the kind of culture you want to build. Like how important do you think it is to have that kind of clarity on who you want to serve, the kind of team you want to build? How important do you think that is in building the dream team?
It's everything, like I said to myself at a very young age, like I'm going to be the hero of my own story. I don't even know where that came from. I was like a teenager. I'm like, where did these words come from? God must have been like, because it's like I'm going to be the hero of my own story because I don't like anyone around me. I don't see anybody around me that's like a good example. I don't look up to anybody around me, and I'm like, I'm going to be the hero of my own story. So in network marketing, with the pivots and the growth and personal development, all the things, I'm like, like no matter what happens, I'm the hero of my own story. Even if I'm pivoting at 7 months pregnant and rebuilding, something, it's like I'm going to do that. But the culture matters. Yes, people come
Yeah.
into this mostly for the pay plan, right? They see this
Right.
awesome comp plan or whatever. I want to make $500. I want to make $40,000, whatever.
Yeah.
But the culture is everything because if your culture is toxic, if your culture is competitive, if it's ego driven, if it's any of those things, people burn out and they leave. Like that's just
Hmm.
what happens.
Yep.
But if you can have this culture where like this is what I've learned, it's like we're not just collecting people and they're just like numbers. It's like come, 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 come. But we're actually like cultivating leaders. Like
Mm.
I don't just like anybody who wants to come work with me. I don't do that. I'm like, no, no. Who's the next rock star? Who's the next leader? Who's the next everyday normal person that wants to be activated? Like that's how I work. Let's build that legacy,
Yeah.
Like we're not just building a list over here. We're building a legacy.
How do you like to identify those people, whether it's personal in your team? What does that look like?
Yeah. I love seeing people who know who they are. They know who
Mm.
they are. Like they're just like a good human. Good human. You don't need to be good at sales. You don't need to be just are you a good human? Can you show up?
Mm.
Can you do the right thing? You know what I mean? Like do you have it in you to be courageous?
Hmm.
And all those things. Like the most excited ones, the ones that are like, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm in your inbox. Like I think you're super cool. It's like, hey, let's connect.
Yeah.
I feel that with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing how, I'll get people, and I'm sure you get this too, like, how do I find leaders? And how do I, like, how do I know I have leaders on my team? And it's like, if you have to ask that question, you don't have any leaders on your team, number one. Number
Yeah.
two, you
Yeah.
got to lead yourself first, right? You got to lead
Hmm.
yourself first. And that might be cliche. And it's like, okay, what does that look like? You just have to ask yourself, would you join you? Would
Yeah.
you follow you? And look, I know some of us are going to be hard on ourselves and go, probably not. It's like, okay, but awareness is the first step, right? Like
Yeah.
if you have a problem, there's
Hmm.
people out there that just like they won't admit it, right?
Hmm.
There's no awareness that they have a problem. So whatever
Hmm.
that is, whether it's like you're not disciplined and going to the gym and eating more protein and taking your supplements, taking your peps, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not plugged into training, you're not taking action in your business, you're not whatever that is, awareness is number one. Having that awareness of like, what do you care about? Don't worry about what your parents care about. Don't worry about your spouse. Like what matters to you. And I love, Amber, you had so much clarity, which is probably why you had that quick success. When we become successful, you always want to try your best to remember what it was like to be new,
Hmm.
maintain your humility, which you touched on, never forget where you came from. Because the truth is, as you become more successful, sometimes you become less relatable, which is a problem. So I think that is such an important piece, and just genuinely caring about people. Like people are sometimes shocked with no matter how busy I am, I always respond to messages. I mean,
Hmm.
occasionally I'm sure
Yeah.
some messages somehow, get through because I have multiple VAs in my inbox all the time. But like
Yeah.
I'm very good at responding to my messages,
Yeah.
or my VAs are responding on my behalf and they say it's them, right? But
Yeah.
like really seeing people.
The people you're reaching out to, the leaders you're attracting, you're looking for in your team, yourself. Does this person I want to partner with feel safe? Is this
Mm,
leader I'm partnering with feel safe? When I looked at the company that I pivoted to that I'm with you clearly, I saw you and Nadia in my heart. I knew I was safe. I knew you guys weren't going to lose. I knew you guys were going to take care of people, that kind of thing. I felt safe. That's a core value of mine. Are
mm,
you a safe person for someone to join? Are you a safe person?
mm.
What's the emotional environment that you are in, your company, the team? Like what's the emotional environment there, right? Like that's a huge piece. Huge
Yeah.
piece.
Am I creating environments where
Mhm.
people feel seen, they feel heard, they feel like they are not a nuisance? Like it's so funny. And you get
Yeah.
these messages too where people are like, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, dude, literally bother me. This is what I'm here for. Like if you're not bothering me, I had this one
Yeah.
person like, I don't want to like bombard you with so many chats. I'm like, look, if you're
Mhm.
not putting me in chats, somebody
Yeah.
else is doing it. So I mean,
Yeah.
this is what I do full time. And of course, there is obviously we understand like in this business, you do have to be somewhat independent, right? You can't just
Yeah.
like just wait for someone to activate you. You're talking about that.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, people don't have that clarity. They don't have that confidence. They don't.
Yeah.
They might be ignorance on fire, but if they don't get results and they're just like what do they used to call it in the early days? Word vomiting over
Yeah.
people. Like you're just like someone says, "Hey, I'm a little thirsty," and you break out a fire hose, and you're just like
Yeah.
completely overwhelming them with too
Yeah.
much too fast. And then you start
Yeah.
to realize, you know what? Instead of just like sending my link to people, being so transactional, I need
Yeah.
to be more relational, right? I don't know if
Mhm.
that's a word, but you want to
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
establish and nurture those relationships, and not
Mhm.
just with your network, but with the people on your team. It's like we work so hard to build a team, and then we get a team going, and it's like, all right, you guys are already in. Let me go get other people, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, but the whole point of this is to find people, to see people where you can unlock their potential. You can pour into them. They can borrow your confidence. They can borrow your certainty, because in the beginning, you might not be that safe harbor, but they are.
Yeah.
So you just connect your people to that, like you said, that safety net, that person, that
Mhm.
that organization, that
Yeah.
culture where like
Yeah.
it's not going to be necessarily you in the beginning, but you're kind of that connector. So
Totally.
what would
Totally.
you say to people that are like, I do feel like I'm lacking in the leadership, category. Like I need to step into my leadership. Like what were some of the things you did over the years, Amber, to develop that confidence, to develop that courage? Do you know?
Yeah. I really plugged into people who were way more ahead of the game than I was. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I followed people like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we always stayed connected. I put myself in environments where people were, stronger leaders. They were making more money. They had bigger teams. They were on stages. They were doing whatever I felt like my calling was. I was like, I want to be there. I will be there. I just need to put myself in those rooms. That law of the lid is like a real thing. You know what I mean? And so I
Yeah.
was like, I just need to keep expanding and I need to keep learning. I need to
Mm.
keep growing. I need to keep, putting myself out there. I need to keep making those sacrifices. That really helped me become a better leader for sure.
What were your like non-negotiables when you were building up the dream team or
Yeah.
rebuilding it now? Like, what are some of those things where you're like, this has to be done every day, and some of this stuff needs to be done not every day, but every week? Do you have some things like that?
Yeah, I think like moms who are like in the, like you got to make that money and this is like your what you're doing, this was our mainstream of income, right? And so I'm like
Right.
busy mom. I don't have time to scroll on Facebook. Like I just don't have time to do that. So
Right.
it's like everything I do, I learned very quickly, like everything needs to be super intentional. And so it's
Mm.
like if I'm messaging you, I actually like looked you up on Facebook and now I'm messaging you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's like if I'm like in your stories, I probably intentionally went to your stories. I didn't just like watch it. I don't have time to do that. And so my intentional actions from the beginning were I need to be talking to people. I need to
Mm.
be in their inboxes. I need to be like live on Facebook, like I went live 200 times in 60 days because that was what the thing was to go live.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to go live all the time. And so it was like, then it was converting and it
Yeah.
was like, it was doing the things. And so I always just do like talking to people and the follow-ups and all those income producing activities. We can kind of get distracted sometimes, but when you're like tight on time and you're like, I got babies to take care of and I got things to do, you don't have time to waste.
Yeah. You need to have an intentional hour a day where you're like, this is my hours of operation when I'm doing my follow-ups, my reach outs, starting conversations, ATMing, doing a post, doing a video, whatever that looks like. You can even set timers. You do like 15-minute timer for follow-ups, 15-minute timer of inviting people, 15-minute timer, you do a video, a post, a reel. Don't spend 2 hours editing a video that's going to get 100 views and one comment. Like, just don't do it. It's
Yeah.
better to put out quantity in the
Yeah.
beginning, have
Yeah.
quantity of conversations, and then
Mhm.
eventually you
Mhm.
start to create more quality content, more
Totally.
quality conversation. You have
Mhm.
more quality time with your team and with your business because now you've created more time. I mean, the beauty of our business is leverage. How many of us would be excited if you had me down one leg and you had Amber down the other?
Yeah.
You would probably still want to work hard because you're like, I need to go build a couple other legs, right? But like you'd be pretty
Yeah.
excited if these were your two lines, these were your two
Yeah.
teams. But
Yeah.
to find those people, typically you have to step into your leadership first. So what
Yeah.
else would you share for people that are like maybe they're kind of stuck at like a lower to mid-level
Yeah.
rank and they want
Yeah.
to do what you've done, build this
Mhm.
multi-million-dollar dream team? Are there some other like higher level, like advanced strategies or recommendations that you would make on how to build or support a bigger team?
I started building this on nap times and after bed times. Like that's what I started building on. But listen, if my kid had a 45-minute nap, I can get at least 30 voice clips out because one
Mm.
minute voice clips, 40-second voice clips. I only had that time. So I'm like, I need to reach out back to all these people. You know how much you can get done when you only know how much time you have 45 minutes and these are the needle movers. And
Right.
so you're like, I need to take it to that next level, take it super serious. Like you can work in the nooks and crannies, the nap times, the breaks and all that. But like you said, carve out an hour, carve out 2 hours, and then you can do that. But be super intentional, keep the income producing activities, make those courageous moves, absolutely, and put yourselves in rooms that make you nervous. If I didn't have the courage, if I didn't make a move that didn't require a safety net, I didn't have and no safety net. I had no
Mm.
guarantees. No guarantees. I had my intuition. I had my vision. I had a strong business sense. Again, always be the hero of my own story. If I didn't do that, I wouldn't be in rooms like backstages with you guys.